Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode one of this untitled podcast because we haven't thought of a name yet. We just hopped on and started recording. So my name is Kevin, and today I'm here with
JB, co-founder of Elev as well.
Amen. So today we're gonna do something a little bit unusual, where one co-founder is gonna interview the other co-founder, and we're gonna talk about anything from. You know what? I'm not even going to spoil it because we're just going to go with the flow. We don't even have a table of contents or anything ready. We're just going to go with it. So, JB, why don't you just start with a quick introduction? Who are you?
Yeah, that's a good question. Who am I? Well, I'm JB. Like to think that I'm the co-founder of Elev, but outside of Elev, I am a recent grad. Yeah, from University of Alberta. So I graduated last week. Thank you very much. It's been a journey. Graduated from like a degree in economics and minor political science. So that was a journey. Came here in Canada about 5 years ago. I think everyone has heard the pitch, the infamous pitch about 5 years ago when I first moved to Canada. But yeah, I moved to Canada for my studies. I was born in Côte d'Ivoire, donc je parle français.
Tu es francophone.
Ah, c'est ça, hein? Tu vois, on roucoule la langue de Molière. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I was born in Côte d'Ivoire, lived there for like about 10 years, and then moved to Tanzania, where like I went to like high school, actually middle school and high school. Fun fact, I didn't know any word of English until I went to Tanzania, so that's where I learned how to speak English, and then from there, like did my thing there, learned a lot of things, and then came here for university. What's fun about me?
He's a fun guy.
I'm a fun guy. You know what I'm saying? I'm a fun guy. But yeah, no, that's pretty much it. Who am I? I mean, yeah, I'm just a regular dude, trying to make the world a better place.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, sir.
He said what he said.
Yes, sir.
Right, so let me ask you this. I always ask this question to every international student I ever meet. Mm-hmm. We live in a city called Edmonton that some people like to refer to as Deadmonton.
Right.
All right. So how does a 16, 17-year-old from across the world in Tanzania figure out where Edmonton is, let alone like make the decision to come to Edmonton, to the University of Alberta, out of all the potential schools that you could have chosen through the entire country and really the entire world, I assume, right?
Yeah, no, that's a very good question. So how did I end up in Edmonton? So we're going to start from the big picture. So first of all, I knew that like I didn't really want to go to like the Europe, and like I wasn't really interested in like going down to Europe. And same thing as well. And like so I was left with Canada. So like I was left with the Americas, right? And so I know that for the US, for example, actually the US, what really turned me down for the US was there was a orientation. So like there's like post-secondary in university like institutions come to your school and talk about like, oh, why you should apply for you. So they said recruiters, there you go, that's the word. Recruiters. And there's this one recruiter that came and he was talking about like a private school, so like giving like all this cool thing, what happens at the school and like what you can be doing there, like the opportunities that come out of it. And then he got to the price. Tell me why this man told with his full chest the tuition for a year, 60,000 USD. And just like that, I knew I wasn't going to the States because what? 60 grand for a year? Okay, do the quick math. 60 and it's a 4-year program. That's $240,000. That's a house. Look, you can buy a house. You can buy a house.
Straight cash.
And like that's USD. So imagine how much it is in CAD. Like maybe like 300 something, right? Like that's a house. I'm like, you know what? Look, thank you very much, but the US, I'm not going there. Now I have nothing against the US, but yeah, can't afford that one.
Quick question: did the recruiter say, "Well, here in America, we got guns and freedom"?
No, he didn't.
They did.
He didn't.
Wait, if they added the pitch, we got the Second Amendment, we got guns, freedom, and a whole lot of burger places. Would you?
Would I have gone, you know what? When you put it that way, yes, I would have gone. Oh man.
At the time. So this was what, 2017.
Yeah, 2017. Yeah.
So that was
2017.
that was Trump already. Eh?
Yeah. Also, actually, also another thing that made me like, you know what? I don't think I want to go there. That was like when like the whole Black Lives Movement started, and it was like it peaked. So I was like, you know what? Like my 17-year-old self, I'm like, because you will see in the news like a random black guy got shot, or like a random like a guy walking on the street, he was shot, and then tell you like, oh, he was this, he was that, and he got shot. I'm like, what if I just go there, and the next thing you know, today breaking news. Young boy from Tanzania has been shot. Fucking yeah. So I was like, you know what? You become a hashtag, you become a t-shirt. I'm like, yeah, you know what? I don't think I want to like live with that stress. And so like all of these things stuff like deterred me from moving to the States for university. That was back then. And then Canada happened. So for Canada was like the last option left. Now from what I heard, Canada, people told me that Canada is like a nice place. People are, you know, like friendly and everything. And when I was doing my research to come to university, like I wanted to like study economics at university, and so I did like the top 3 university in Canada that taught economics, and the top 3 universities that were there were it was U of T, UBC, and U of A.
U of A is top 3.
U of A was top 3.
Crazy.
U of A was top 3. Yep.
The people in U Alberta Reddit are gonna be mad hearing this. They're always shitting on U of A for no reason, but we're actually a good school. We're a good school.
We're actually a good school, and thinking like even at the graduation thing, like the graduation ceremony, like the dean was even saying that like we moved up levels. Like right now we're like top. I think we're like top 4 now in Canada for universities. So we're actually a good school. But it's you know when you're outsider, it's one thing like, oh yeah, it's the best school. But when you're in, it's a different story. It's a different story.
That's for another episode. That's for another
episode. Exactly. And so one I had the 3 choices, and I knew like number 1, like tuition for these 3 schools, U of T and UBC, it was just crazy. I think UBC was like $45,000 a year, and that's minus accommodation, that's minus books, rent, all that stuff. Like 45,000 for tuition fee, and
that's crazy.
And it was 50,000 at U of T for tuition fee as well, minus the other stuff. And it was U of A. The U of A was like, I think it was back then before they started increasing the fees for international students. It was like I think it was like 20 grand a year, and they gave me a scholarship. So
so you got a bag.
I had to do what I had to do, and so that's essentially how I ended up here in Edmonton.
Interesting. So real quick, why economics?
Yeah. So that one. Economics, it started, I want to say, back in, I want to say middle school. So growing up, first thing first, when I was a kid, I wanted to be president. Like I wanted to be the president of my country. Like
président de la République.
Le président de la République. Quand je me rappelle qu'on me demandait, Junior, qu'est-ce que tu veux quand tu seras grand? Je vais être le président Gbagbo. That was the president back then. Président Gbagbo, ça sera moi. That was me, growing up. But as I grew older, I was like, you know what? I don't think that's what I want to do. And I think like I switched to like being an engineer because my dad is an engineer. Like he's an engineer by trade, so I want to follow his footsteps. And that dream lived on until about grade 10 when I failed chemistry. I was like, yeah, I'm not doing chemistry. That's not happening. And I was like, you know what? There was still some hope. I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to be like the general engineer. I'm going to be a mechanical engineer. So I took physics. So I did the IB, like full IB. That's so I took like physics HL. Now let me tell you something. You know, there's ambitions and there's limits to ambitions. Physics humbled me. Like, I'm gonna tell you something. Physics humbled me. You know why I say that? Because for the final grade, my final grade, so like when we do the final exams, to pass, you needed to have 25%.
25% was a pass.
The pass. The pass was 25%. So like if you had over 25%, you passed.
That's crazy.
I got 27%. Like,
damn.
That's how I got 27%. I think it was probably like one of the most challenging exam I ever wrote. Like even when I got out of class, I was like, yeah, I'm not gonna make it. Like that's how hard it was. And
that's crazy.
When I went through grade 11, grade 12, IB physics, like that's when I knew for a fact that I'm not doing engineering. Like that's not happening. But I know that my godfather actually, he was an economist with the UN. He was working with the UN, and so like I had a chance to do like an internship over the summer. Like I shadowed him pretty much. And, like I saw the work that he did, and like everything he was working on, and like that was like fascinating. I was like, wow, that's actually pretty cool. And so like that sort of like picked like planted the seed in my brain. And so over time, like I started like reading more about economics, and then next thing you know, economics is my passion. Now, why exactly economics? Is because like I really like the conceptualize like the conceptualization. I don't know if that's a word of thing. That's a word. But being able to like think both from the like big picture and like in the mic, and then like zooming into like the detail, right? Like being able to like see things through and like see things from like different angles and use that to like even like to make like decision, or like use data to make decision and infer decision and all that stuff. That's that's like very interesting to me. And so the flexibility that economics allows me to get, and like the skills that I learned, is why like I even like it even more. And so this is actually like the story of how like I went from wanting to be the president of my country to now an economist.
An economist. So do you think you'll ever be president?
You know what? That's for another episode.
Another episode.
Another episode.
All right. So fast forward.
Yeah.
2017, you land in Canada, and you start going to school at U of A.
Yep.
At some point, you know, Elev comes in the picture. Well, what's the story behind that? How does that start?
Well, that's a very good question. And I happen to be talking to the person that brought me, that essentially planted the seed and made Elev essentially like a part of like my journey. And so how did it start? So I remember, I think I was in the library, Rutherford Library. So many memories were made in the library. And when I tell you that in the library, when you go to the Rutherford Library, at the back there was a table. Okay, and at that table, that's where all the most, I want to say, nonsensical people would hang out. And
the clowns.
The clowns, literally, man. Like the people that used to be in the back of the bus back in high school, that was us. Like we were hanging out in Rutherford. Like so many people were just hanging out in Rutherford. And taking fun fact, they actually removed the table. Like they took it out. They removed it because
people too rowdy over there.
People were too rowdy over there, and that was because of us. You know,
that's your legacy at U of A, man.
Yes, that is, man. That is. Like I remember we went back after COVID, and the table was gone. Like just removed it. We're like, yep, that's us. Look at that. You see all of this? We did that. That was us. That was us. Yeah. And so for the table, so I was hanging out at the table, and I had a friend, mutual friend. That sort of like we were talking about, I don't know what we were talking about, and then he was talking about this idea that he was that like him and his roommates, which is also his friend, where we essentially had an idea of like doing this whole student housing thing and all of that, and I thought it was pretty cool. But the one thing though that really like stood out to me, that like grabbed my interest was like the numbers. So I was like, you know what, that's actually a pretty cool idea. But like, what do the numbers look like? Like, how are you gonna make that happen? What are like the data that you have and everything? And so like he showed me the numbers and everything. I was like, okay, that looks good. What if you try this? What if you change that? What if you make this tweak here? okay, like can we graph it to see what's going to look like over time? And from that conversation, he was like, oh, you know what? There's one person you should talk to. I'm like, all right, okay, sure, let's set it up. And so he goes, yeah, this is the person, blah blah blah. You should definitely meet with them. Like they will like give you more idea, more perspective, like more detail about what the project is about. I'm like, all right, sure, cool, let's do it. And so I remember, I don't exactly what day it was, but I know that we met in Cameron Library, Cameron basement, and this person happened to be no one else but Kevin.
Yes,
I mean,
sir.
Kevin. You know, funny thing, I have the text. That our friend sent to meet at this library, and even have like I went back up to like our first conversation, you and I. Way up, what like you were like, oh, let's meet in the Cameron Library. We should do this and that. But essentially, we met in the Cameron Library, and then you were talking about like Elev and like the vision that you had and what you're trying to do, and you're essentially trying to like get me to join the team, right? And back then, I remember like doing a startup, like starting a business. It wasn't really something that I want to say, quote unquote, programmed to do. And what I mean by that is, you know, every typical African parents, you know, when you grow up, you either become an engineer, doctor, or a lawyer. Now, me, I already failed on all three. I already failed there on all three levels. So the one thing I had to do was go to university, focus on my studies, graduate, and get a job. None of the start a business, get a part-time job, nah. So when I was approached, it's like, oh, maybe you should join us. Blah, blah, we're gonna build this thing. I was like, you know what? Yeah, see, that was not part of the script. You see, the script said, get the university first.
Go to school, get a degree, get a job. Nothing
Get a
else.
job. I can't be doing that, you know? And so I was like, yeah, I don't think so. But Kevin doesn't take no for an answer. This is something that everyone should know. Kevin doesn't take no for an answer. And this man, he's like, yeah, but what about this? What about that? What about this? And so, you know, what if you started as an intern? And that was a trap. That's why I messed up. That's why I messed up. Join as an intern, and the rest is history. And yeah, that's essentially how Elev started. You know, like the fact that I had the opportunity to like sort of like try new things and test a few things out. And the more I work on it, the more I developed a toxic relationship with Elev. And now, it's part of my life now. You can see Elev now.
It's a toxic relationship that won't end, regardless of what happens.
Yep, regardless of what happens, it's staying, and it's for the long term.
Amen. So, what's your relationship with, I guess, the problem that we're solving at Elev, like with the whole student housing thing, the difficulty? What's your story with that? What's your experience been like looking for housing as a student?
I was waiting for that question. So
5 years ago today.
5 years ago, I moved across the world from Africa to come pursue my studies in Canada. Now, take in, it was my first time moving away from my family. I had never lived in Canada before. And it was my first time living alone, going to university. Now, I couldn't afford living on campus because actually scrap that. The reason why I had to live off campus is because I missed a deadline to live on campus. That's why. So I applied for residence at Lister, and they said, you got in, congratulations. Now, I didn't even read the actual email. I saw the congratulations, you got in. I was like, I bet. Moving on. In the email, it said you have 10 days to confirm that you want the place. Otherwise, I was going to give it to somebody else. I didn't read that part of the email. And so I was like, yeah, going about my business, getting stuff ready, blah, blah, to come to university. 10 days later, they're like, oh, we haven't heard from you. Your house is gone. And then that's when I go back to the previous email. I'm like, what do you mean house is gone? I read everything like, oh, snap. I was supposed to confirm. I never confirmed. Oh, man. Now, how do I tell my parents this?
That's the hard part.
That's the hard part. That's the hard part. I had to tell my parents this. And so I go, like I had to go and I have a sit down with my dad, my mom. Tell him, hey, by the way, kind of messed up. Yes. That was not a very fun conversation to have. My parents, they were obviously mad,
Uh-huh.
and they gave me the entire responsibility to find a place to stay off campus.
Mhm.
Now I'm glad. Number one, I'm glad. No, back then it was tough. Don't get me wrong, but I'm glad that I got to change the chance to live off campus because, like, I know that my parents, like, they would have made a sacrifice for me to live on campus, but like, financially speaking, it was just too expensive. Like, it just didn't
Mhm.
make sense. It was just too expensive. And like, because I was gonna be living, I think it was like it was gonna be like a 1 bedroom, 1 bathroom, like essentially like the top of the top. And
Damn.
like, yeah, it was just too expensive. I'm like, yeah, look, run to the math, mom and dad. You see this and that. We're already paying this much. We have other siblings. We shouldn't be spending that much money. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
so I was like, yeah, it's best that we live off campus. And so thinking it was from, I think I started looking from, I think like March, and school started in September. So from
Mhm.
March until September, I was looking for a place to stay off campus. So you can imagine all the platform. Like, think about a listing platform. I used it.
Mhm.
No matter what, I used it. The Facebook Marketplace, Kijiji, Rent Faster, Renting Space, all of them. I used it. Looking for a place, applying X, Y, Z. Every day, wake up from the morning until night. And there was even sorry, the U of A, they have a body system for international
Mhm.
students. So like how it works is that like they sort of like pair you with like someone that's in Canada that has more experience, and then like you sort of like connect with them, blah 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 blah. And they have my buddy look for a place here for me while I was looking for when I was like back home. I still hadn't found a place to stay.
Okay.
And I remember exactly, I was on a plane flying from because I was like come on the escale. How do you say escale?
Layover.
Layover. There you go. So I was doing a layover. I was doing a layover in Amsterdam, and that's when I got the first positive answer. First positive answer that said that, oh, you might be a good fit for this property. You should come and check it out. And so like I got I got to Canada. I had to spend like a couple of nights at a hotel because I was still looking, despite of the positive answer. I was still looking for another place to stay. And after like visiting a few places, I went to that one property that I found. It was actually really close by campus. It was like in the McKernan area. So like
Mhm.
literally 5 minutes walk to the LRT and
Mhm.
then straight to university. And so I
Mhm.
went and visited the place and then, moved in there.
That's a
And
buzz beater.
yeah, that was a buzzer beater, man. Because taking like school started like a couple of days later, and so
Mhm.
like this whole thing was stressful. And even when I moved in, like I said, it was like my first time living with like away from my family, with other people, with roommates. Like, what is that? I don't know that. And so my
Mhm.
first time, and it wasn't like a set of roommate, like there's like a set roommate that you had. It was rotating. So like
Mhm.
some will be there for like they have like different lengths for the lease. Some will leave early, some will leave. So like you have new people like literally, I could because the thing is that it was like 6 people in the apartment, in
Mhm.
the house, and so
Mhm.
like two per floors, and so like on rotation, like some people will be here for 4 months, other for two, other for eight, other for 12, and so it was like new roommates. So like it was a great experience. Don't get me wrong, like I had a great landlord, but like it was a learning experience. Like I learned so
Mhm.
many things through it, and it was challenging, it was stressful, and so that's actually why when like I started working on Elev and like I started like building Elev and like adding more stuff, like adding more value to it, it became like personal because I went through experience. Now, because I'm someone that I like challenges and I like
Mhm.
to push through whatever obstacle is there, like I'll find a solution no matter what.
Mhm.
But not everyone is built like that. And I don't
Mhm.
think that everyone has to deal with like those challenges and all of that. And
Mhm.
so I figured,
But you're built different.
Kimmy, Timothy, you know what I'm saying? I'm Kimmy, you know what I'm saying? KB, Kimmy Bruce, yes sir, that's me, that's me.
He is him.
Exactly. But no, I
Mm.
don't think everyone has to worry about it. So I don't want everyone to like have to like stress about those stuff, and like you don't have to stress about it. And so that's why like I left for me is more personal, and I've even seen like like when I went back to visit my family, I think it was like about like 2 summers ago. We had a family friend who had her daughter who was going to university here in Canada. Now, the thing is that she was going like it was like right after the pandemic. So like you know how like there's like like COVID restrictions and like flying and even like when you're at the house and all that stuff. Like I witnessed it, like the whole process that I went through, but from like a third eye, like a third perspective, you know. And I saw the mother stressing, like she was stressing because she would come to my house, she come to our house and like talk to my mom and like the whole process and everything. Like even like even when they were flying to because she went to Ottawa, the place that they were looking at like was about like they paid the deposit, like they paid the money to hold the place. And the landlord started playing games and acting funny. And so like when they got to like the layover and everything, like she was stressed, like crying, calling my mom because like my mom went through something similar as well. And so like seeing that happen, I'm like, only if Elev was just where we needed to be, trust me, you wouldn't even have to like think about this, like worry about it. And so like seeing that happen and like seeing all the other people that tell me their story, but like how they have struggled to find housing off campus is like just like a fuel for me to like, you know what, like let's just make this happen. Let's like, you know, be able to live to somewhere that's gonna be super helpful for people.
100%. So really quick, tell me about that. The first house you lived in here in Canada. How was it?
Yeah. It was nice. It was nice. The house was nice. It's just that the landlord, I don't know. It was something. The landlord, because I understand where the landlord was coming from, but like sometimes I was like, you know what? I kind of need the privacy. Like you can't just show up. You know,
He would just pull up whenever.
You just show up and be like you woke up in the morning to go to breakfast and he's there, like either fixing something in the house. I'm like, well, hi, why are you here? It's like, oh, I'm just here to fix something. I'll be out, and he's here for like 30 to an hour. I'm like, well, you didn't tell me you were coming and all that stuff. And like, so sometimes he would come. Like, let's say for example, you eat and you leave a dish in the thing, yeah. And then he'd come, see it, either take a picture or like ask everyone in the house whose that is, and then go back, send an email to be like, hey, I was at the house today, I saw this and that, please make sure you keep the house clean, you're supposed to do this way, so whoever this it is, please clean it and then get back to me to know that you've done it. And I was like, bro, like, okay, I understand that you want to keep the place clean. I do my dishes right away. Like, there has been times where like, look, I'm in the middle of something I can't just do right now. I have to go and do it. I have to like, I'll do it later. But like, you coming and then imposing all these strict rules and all that stuff, like kind of like made the whole thing like kind of stressful, you know? And so that was like the one downside. The other downside, one of my roommates was stealing my food. Like she was straight eating my stuff, bro. Like I remember I chopped her once, like I caught her lacking proper. So what happened was back then I was obsessed with Nutella. Like obsessed with Nutella. And so what I would do is like I'll buy like the big boxes of Nutella. And then like on everything I could spread it, I would spread it. So like bread, the crepe, pancakes, like literally everything that could be spread it on, I would spread it, you know. But the thing that I like, at one point I noticed that it started going faster than the usual rates. Like I'm not eating fast, but like not that fast, you know. And so it was going a little too fast. And so what happened was I'm like, somebody's definitely eating my Nutella. And so what I did was I finished all the Nutella that I had. I finished the Nutella, threw in the garbage, emptied it, and then bought a new one, a fresh one. But I didn't open it. I kept the lid on. The still was still there. I just left it there.
Set the trap.
Set the trap in my, because everyone had their own like cupboard. So I put it in my cupboard in the same spot I usually put it, and I left it there. Tell me why on a beautiful Sunday morning I come down to have breakfast. Shorty is eating my Nutella in front of me.
Good morning, JB.
I'm like, what are you doing? I looked at her. She looked at me, and we get me. I was like, what are you doing? You know. So when I came down, I saw the thing was open. But like as I came down, I heard like someone like run to like the room. I'm like to the room. I can literally see someone was having breakfast, but they heard the owner of the Nutella come down. So, and actually the Nutella is there, like the literally the breakfast setup is there, but the person isn't. So I'm just there like looking. She comes down, she looks at me, I look at her. How you doing? I'm good. I'm like, so what's up with Nutella? What's up?
Where'd you buy this?
Where'd you get it from? I'm curious. Where'd you get it from? And then she's like, I thought it was for everybody. I just been using it. I thought it was for everyone. I just didn't buy anything. I'm like, so you tell me that I have a cupboard right here. You have yours right there. But for some reason, this one cupboard belongs to everybody. I was like, oh, okay, no worries.
How, Sway?
How is it for everybody? I was like, you know what? I was like, oh, okay. Well, this one is mine, right? And so you should be using it. If you want to use it, just let me know. So she was like, oh, okay, sorry, I didn't know.
She must have cut it back in.
Please. Yeah, man. Like she was eating my stuff. I was so heated. Like it was just Nutella. Don't get me wrong. But I would just heat. I'm like, why don't you just tell me? Like, if you wouldn't tell her, like, I would just give it to you. Like, I like that stuff. I don't mind sharing it, but I was just hiding and just taking my stuff, But that was like stuff like the stuff that was happening. My roommates, and of course, like there was the occasional roommates that had partners that would come over, and so how the walls here, the walls are not made out of cement like back home. They're made out of wood. So.
I don't know what they were clapping for, but they were clapping.
They were clapping, bro. Yeah, man. Oh man, what is that guy was? I was hanging out with a friend, and he was like, so we're hanging out with a friend, and then one of the friend, like we went out and we're dancing, and like he was like, hey, yo, Peter. I see your hands are up, but you're clapping. What's up?
Yo, Peter.
Hey, yo, Peter.
How are you clapping with your hands up?
I was like, what? Yeah, bro, I was dead, man. But yeah, that's actually like, yeah, but it was nice. Like it was nice. It was like convenient. Like it was really close to campus where I was staying at, and there were just like a little bit too many rules in the house, but it was nice for my parents. My parents liked the fact that there were all these rules because, like, yeah, gonna focus on your studies, gonna be a good student and all that stuff. For me, I was like, yeah, that's too much. I need some like independence, But yeah. But it was nice. Like I liked it, but I had to move out at some point because it was just getting too much.
100%. Oh, by the way, to anyone who's listening to this, your landlord can just pull up in your house anytime. Hey, they need to give you proper notice.
100%.
And legally speaking, I think in Alberta is at least 24 hours, something like that. But in other provinces, it might be different. But yeah, don't let your landlord bully you around like this.
Yeah, no, like definitely. Because to me, I was new. See, I didn't know anything. That's the thing. I didn't know, so I thought it was normal. But I was like, why is he coming in? But like later on, I learned that like it's not like he can't just show up. Like you just can't show up. Like they have to give you like warning, or unless it's like really urgent. But even then, they have to give you warning. They can just like show up. So, yeah.
100%. Yep. Well, we're reaching. We're I think past 30 minutes already, but there's a lot to talk about. So I thank you, Jimmy, for pulling up, for spending some time. I think there's a lot of questions that were not asked, but for another episode.
100%. Yes,
so any final words?
Any final words? Yeah, make sure you keep your Nutella safe. Like don't let anyone steal your Nutella, man. Yeah, that's the final word.
I think next time we should talk about roommate shenanigans, because
you know what? Yes, I have more. We should definitely talk about that. Yeah,
100%. Okay,
yes.
Next time. Thank you very much.
Yes, sir. Thank you, man.
Take care.
You too.